Hey, what's up, everybody? We are back again. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Real Talk with Dominic Santana. You know, we talk about real talk, REEL.
Yep.
And so it's based in film-related business, film stories, my journey through film, other people's journey through film. You know, we haven't talked yet about how to even begin in film, not thoroughly.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I wanted to take today to just kind of, you know, it's just you and I. So
Today's the B team.
The B team.
Yeah. I'm the behind the scene team.
We got the B team.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. You got to settle for me today.
But no, so, you know, I've been in this business a long time, and that's one of the questions I get asked a lot the most. I get asked a ton of questions, you know, by the public when I'm out in the public. But one of the main ones, like I said, is people want to know, how do I get started? How do I get in? And the thing about it is there's a million ways to do it.
Sure.
But before I jump into that, I brought this real cool coin, and you're former military. So
Marine, not military, Marine. Don't get it twisted.
Excuse me. It's the Marines and the military are two different things. My bad.
We like our specifics.
So, the damn devil dogs.
That's right. Two from Huda.
And so I come from a military family.
Sure.
I myself did not serve in the military because I come from a military family. Yeah. So once I saw, you know.
Yeah, I'm not going to let my kid do it.
Right. How it went for everyone else. I was like, I think I'm going to go do something else.
Yeah.
I almost went. I actually went to boot camp.
Okay.
I started in boot camp.
How did you start in boot camp?
Well, because I went to boot camp.
Okay.
Fortunately, my father was in a high enough position to help me out. But I was like, dude, because here's the thing. He was always like, everyone should do at least 2 years in the military.
Okay.
Teaches you discipline, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
You know, you military guys are.
Yeah.
And so, I was like, you know what? All right. I don't know. You know, football didn't work out. I didn't know what I was going to do next. So
Okay.
I was like, maybe I'll try the military.
What branch?
Army.
Okay.
And so that's mostly what I knew.
No.
So I was like, I'm going to try it. So I got into the beginning procedures or whatever. I was terrible.
Okay.
I was terrible. Not that I couldn't do this stuff.
You could leave in boot camp?
Yes.
Okay.
You can.
Okay.
I guess as long as you do it early enough.
Okay.
Or whatever. I don't know the particulars. And it's been so long ago now that I was just like, it took a like 5. You see, I'm 6'5".
Yeah.
So it took like a 5. I mean, this drill sergeant had to be like 5'7".
Yeah, the average height's
5'6".
5. Yeah.
And I mean, just standing there and him just sticking his finger in my face
with his old smoky.
Yeah, and I'm just looking like, you know what? This isn't for me. I'm about to whoop this dude's ass.
Yeah.
And he was just on me and on me and
Of
on me.
course.
And I was just like, all right, dude. I talked to my father. I was like, my man, you need to get out of here. But that's neither here or there.
Okay.
The main thing is I met this guy. I was at Mission Barbecue.
Okay.
And I was picking up some food, and I met this old Marine. And for whatever reason, we were both waiting on our food. For whatever reason, funny enough, he was also like a 5'6" dude. He's a little guy. And he looked at me and smiled, and he was like, what position did you play? Which is often, especially older men.
Yeah.
That's usually the conversation starter when they see me. So, we started talking about football and, other teams and stuff like that, and we had a good conversation. And then I went to get my food, and then so first he said, hey, one more thing, and he pulled out this sticker.
Okay.
Right? From Operation 20. I don't want to say it wrong. I just had it. Forgive me if you're listening to this. Operation Prevent 22.
Okay.
It's a foundation that helps soldiers who come back with PTSD and works with them to prevent them from committing suicide or even getting close to that point.
Yeah.
So he told me a little bit about the foundation. I had never heard of it. I knew there were foundations out there, but I had never heard of it. And he was telling me about it, gave me this sticker. Okay. And I was like, okay, most definitely. I come from a military family, so I'm very supportive of, anything that helps with that. I have a cousin, he never tried to commit suicide or anything to my knowledge. Yeah. But, he deals with PTSD to this day. He got blown up by an IED, had to do surgeries, had brain traumas, stuff like that. And he still has lasting effects,
Yeah.
from that. And then he, of course, had to honorably leave the military.
Sure.
But PTSD is part of that.
Yeah.
I have another friend of mine I was just talking to, ironically, the same day I got this, we weren't even talking about that, but he kind of went missing. And I was hitting him up all day, and I'm like, so the next morning, I'm like, dude, like, are you all right, bro? Like, I've been hitting you up. We got things to do. And he's a former Marine himself, and he served in Iraq and somewhere else. I can't remember, but he's told me some of the stories he went through in Iraq, and it's pretty crucial. He's part of a unit that were like terrorist hunters.
Okay.
And they got into a lot of stuff. A lot of things happened.
So, yeah, he was a grunt.
Yeah, I don't know all the details.
Okay.
But he was just telling me, and we've talked many times, and I know of this stuff, from his story, but that day was the first time that, he was like, he was like, I'm so sorry, bro. The day was just kind of a wash for me. I had a bad migraine all day, and he was like, I still, like, every now and then I'll suffer from like really bad nightmares and get a migraine. He was like, it was one of those days. And I woke up with a migraine and just like feeling really stressed and high anxiety. And he said, I knew it was my PTSD.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, like that's something that really goes on. It's different when you deal with somebody close to you that is going through it. And you're like, okay, it is serious. It's more serious than just hearing about it.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he gave me that sticker. And I was like, okay, I'll definitely support. Still got to find a place to put it up.
Okay.
And then I was about to leave. They handed me my food and I got my sauces and everything. If you've been to Mission Barbecue, then they're very law enforcement and military centric. That stuff is all over, their places, and they're huge supporters of both.
My son and I, we tore that place up.
Yeah. I love the place. And so you know how it is, you got military stuff all over the walls and law enforcement.
Yeah, and the KC barbecue sauce.
Oh, yeah.
Because that shit delicious. Mix it with that vinegar-based sauce.
I'm a Smoky Mountain guy.
So is my son. Yeah.
So as I was about to go out the door, he was like, hey, you know what? I got one more thing for you. So he pulls out this coin and he starts telling me about the coin with the military guys. Like, as you said, the challenge coin.
Yep.
You got to keep it on you at all times. And he was giving me the background story and whatnot on it. And he was telling me about it. And he was still holding on to it while I was holding on to it. But I thought he was just like letting me see it. And so after he finished telling me about it, I was like, that's, it's pretty cool. He was a master chief, et cetera. And after he finished telling me about the coin, he
Master
was
Chief,
like,
that's a Navy rank.
Yeah, I don't know, bro.
Okay, I'm just saying.
I could be saying it wrong.
I got you.
It's a chief something. So, anyway.
We'll give him a gunny.
I have no idea.
No, don't worry about it. You'll be pushing later. Don't worry about it when he sees us.
So, if you see this.
It's probably a master
me.
sergeant.
Come to think probably.
About it. Yeah.
But so, he finished telling me about the coin, and then I let go of it. And he was like, you going to take it? And I was like, oh, you're giving this to me. I was like, I'm sorry, I didn't realize. And I'm a huge fan I love the Punisher. I have several things with the Punisher symbol on it and whatnot. So this coin, if you're listening on podcast, this coin it's like a gold coin with a black circular middle with a gold Punisher logo type skull in the middle.
Let me see that real quick.
There you go.
You're not supposed to hand this stuff over.
Yeah.
But
well, I'm not former military.
This guy might be a MARSEP guy.
He said he did medical evacs and stuff.
Yeah, he was probably with some of the good guys. Yeah, I think he just met a special forces dude.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, he's probably a raider.
He mentioned several things.
Oh yeah, if that symbol corresponds to his unit, he did some shit.
I could imagine, and I was shocked that he gave it to me. That he was letting me have it, because he's like, you don't just give these away.
No.
He was like, but there's something about you. I don't know if you guys can see it.
Oh, they got it.
Zoom in on it.
Zoom in.
But it's a really cool coin. I'm big on signs, and I love on the back of it says, we're here to save your ass.
Yep.
So I love that. And it was just, like I said, and I love the Punisher. So I was just like, this is so odd and just out of the blue, but also I was very honored, for that. And so I just wanted to show that, give a big shout out to here I go. My brain is off today, man. Forgive me, you guys. Operation Prevent 22. So if you can't support them, in any way you can, especially if you come from a military family like myself. I definitely will be supporting. But so anyway, that was just a cool story of something ironic that happened, or just out of the blue, off the wall, that I really appreciated and felt honored about. But getting back to the film business, as I said, a lot of people come up to me and they want to know, how do I get into film? So when I was starting out, I used to be the same way. I used to be an extra on movies and shows, and every blue moon. Back, it's a little different now. It's not as strict now, but back then it used to be like, don't look the actors in the eyes, don't engage with them unless they engage with you. And this wasn't the actors saying this. This is the producers.
Yeah.
I thought it was a little, BS. I was like, what do you mean? We're human. They're human. Why can't we talk to them? As someone in the business who's been in the business a while now, I get it, because your every day is scheduled, and every day costs a certain amount of money. And when you waste time and you bullshit around, you lose money, you lose time.
And you're focused on the lines. You don't want to forget. Yeah.
Right. And so they want the actors to be able to stay focused, get in there, do their lines, and get done within the time they have scheduled to shoot whatever scenes. But I was not that I was not that extra. I was that guy that, I look around, oh, I don't see any producers. Hey, excuse me. It's so nice to meet you, brother.
Yeah, because you really blend in.
Right. Well, what's funny? I think the thing with me is, again, I'm 6'5".
Yeah.
So a lot of actors are not my size,
Yeah.
nowhere near my size.
Yeah.
And so when I would run up on them, I think it was just a different kind of, versus another 5'5" guy or 5'6" guy running up to you and saying, "Hey, I want to." It's like, "Hey, get out of my face, bud."
It was like Suge Knight negotiating with Vanilla Ice over points.
Well, I didn't go at him like that, but I think there's just a little more. It's like I don't want to say anything crazy to him, like I normally would be. I can't tell this guy to just skedaddle.
Yeah.
Because what if he takes it the wrong way? So, which I never was like imposing my size or stature on them. I didn't even think about it until later, when I would see other actors I know who are smaller and see how fans approach them versus how they approach me.
Yeah. Do you think trees worry about the rabbits?
Not at all. Not at all. They don't have to.
Yeah.
It's like, what's going on down there?
Yeah.
But I would approach different people, talk to them. One thing I was really good at was networking on set. That was as close as, because, I didn't come from anyone. There was no nepotism in my career. I didn't have anyone in my family, no family friends or anyone connected or related to this business. So I had to find the ways that I could network and get to know people. And sometimes that would be on sets. And, so I was always curious about the cameras, about the lighting. Why is it set up like this? Why are there marks? What's the focusing? So I would ask the camera guys questions. I would ask PAs and anyone I could talk to. I think the producers were the hardest to talk to, harder than some of the actors. Some of the actors really would be annoyed with you. And I used to think, it used to be ego to me, like, oh, who are you supposed to be? Why are you acting all like that, brother? But like I said, once I got in a position, I learned, oh, you're trying to focus and stay in your thing, stay in character. You're trying to be professional, and you're on the time limit. And a lot of people when it's your scene, a lot of people are riding on that time limit. So I get it now, but then, I didn't get it. And I was like, are these guys serious? And I've talked about before, Andre 3000, really cool dude. We were shooting Idlewild many moons ago, and I had a girlfriend that was her favorite artist.
Okay.
And I approached him. They told us, don't, mess with the actors. But it was light at first.
Yeah.
And I caught him on the side of one of the sound stages. He was oddly practicing saxophone.
Okay.
And he was terrible at it back then. But he was just starting, you know what I mean? And so he was just out there trying to play the saxophone. I used to play saxophone. So when I seen him, I was like, hey, if you do this, and that, to make it a little easier for you. I used to play saxophone in high school. And so he's like, oh, okay, thank you, man. So we start up a little small chit chat, at that time. And and I knew Eric Thomasounis, who started Swirl Films and worked with them early on, mainly Big Boy, and they became real good friends. So, I had that connection there as well. I was doing some smaller things with Swirl Films at the time. And, I was like, man, this is a moment, and it was my girl at the time. It was her birthday.
Yeah.
And so I was like, what better gift than to get Andre 3000 to wish her happy birthday? And I knew that was going too far.
Okay.
But you're a man. I'm probably gonna get kicked off of this today. But I'm gonna be the man for a while.
Okay.
So I did. I called her up. Said, hey, have somebody. I was like, hey, brother. And I just kind of like handed him the phone. Do you mind wishing my girl a happy birthday? She's your biggest fan.
Yeah.
And he was just like, oh, okay, why not?
Yeah.
I handed him the phone. I was like, here. And he took the phone and he said, hey, this is Andre. I just want to wish you a happy birthday, etc. I get the phone back and he has to go back inside or whatever. Probably was just running from me.
Yeah.
And so, so it all falls apart because I get back on the phone with her like, yeah, I'm the man. And she just reams me for not warning her ahead of time because she was like, I didn't know what to say. And why would you just hand him the phone? Why wouldn't you tell me beforehand? So I'm getting fussed out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, are you serious? I should have known then it wasn't going to work. But if you're watching this, hey, no shade.
Yeah, never let another man into your woman's ear.
I know that now. So yeah, she just reamed me, and I was like, well, that was a waste. And then shortly after that, the producers come out. We told you guys to please not bother the actors. So now, no contact with the actors unless they contact you first. And I'm like, I knew exactly who they were talking about, and I was like, that damn Andre, when it's snitching, But no, I don't know if he did or didn't, but. I just thought it was hilarious. But anyway, just taking those opportunities to approach people. I actually respect people. And sometimes it is annoying. Like if you're in Walmart I don't go to Walmart, but where do I go? Walgreens
Target.
or, Harris Teeter or something or Rouse in LA or whatever.
Okay.
I don't go to Target like that. But I don't know why either. Like, I just don't. It's never one of those places I want to go.
Target is like hot girl Walmart.
I guess
they got all the yoga pants.
A good way. Yeah, that's a good way to say it. And it's nice. It's nicer than Walmart.
Yeah.
But I just never. That's not a place I think to go to. I don't know why. But maybe because they're not a sponsor.
They could be for the right amount of money. You too.
right. For the low price. But no. So, it is annoying sometimes when people approach you when you're just trying to get in and out of a store or something like that. But I do respect them because. And I try to talk to all of them and give advice. I found myself like super annoyed before people stopping me because I'm in a rush. But I'm like, man, I know that what that moment feels like, especially if you want to be an actor.
Yeah.
And then you see someone who's like a hot actor or has done major level stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's like, that guy's got to know something.
Yeah.
And you're like, I may never see this person again or get this kind of an opportunity again. And so I get it. I get what it takes to run up on somebody, especially my size, So I'm not a little guy.
So, question for you: do most people expect you to like plug them in, or do they want really advice? Because almost everybody that talks to me is expecting a plug.
So I do have those people. I think with me it's a little different because of this has nothing to do with you, but just the level that I'm on as an actor.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have a pretty good sense of. He probably can't or will not try to plug me into the level of stuff he's doing when I've done nothing.
Yeah.
But you do have those people, people that I are lightly associated or I've met before, and they're like, yo, put me on, bro. Or, hey, sometimes people are being funny and, I see them out and about and they're like, hey, man, I want to try that little acting thing, bro. Put me in something.
Yeah.
Like, who, I wish I could walk up to, whoever, Brian Grazer and be like, hey, bro, put me in something.
Yeah.
And he goes, okay, sure.
Yeah.
Because if that works, I'm going to start doing it.
Yeah.
But I have not seen it work. And it's actually highly disrespectful because it usurps the journey of the person and everything, the sacrifices, the hard work, the long nights, everything they put in to getting to that point to get those opportunities. And so for you to think that you can just be put on or plugged in is not only inaccurate, but it's insulting as well. And, I just tell them, those guys that do that, guys or girls that do that, I just tell them the reality of like, hey, bro, casting handles that. I'm not in the casting department. I might be in the same line your ass is in, you know what I mean, for a role. So I was like, you got to get an agent. You got to get somebody advocating for you and getting you opportunities to audition. And then you have an opportunity to get a role.
Yeah.
And I was like, but that's casting department. I'm not a casting director. I have nothing to do with that. And then so you kind of see it in their eyes like, oh, like what did you think? We just go put in applications and, if we're right for the job, they hire us? No, it does not work like the regular world. It's a whole different entity, a whole different kind of world on its own. But the thing that I learned, well, first of all, I want to say one of the easiest ways, this is a hack to getting started in filmmaking or, acting in film. It's not always going to work and it's not always guaranteed, but it's one of the easier ways out of all the other ways, aside from, going to Yale School of the Arts or Harvard's, theater department. Outside of that, going and finding a reputable acting coach.
Okay.
So like in Wilmington, I've sent several people to
Actors Arsenal.
Yeah,
with Ron.
Yeah. Yep. I've sent several people over there who've, liked it and had good results. The reason why you want to go to an acting coach, aside from actually learning, so don't just go there and like try to fake the funk until they plug you in. But actually go there, participate, and do what you're supposed to do, because you got to sharpen those tools. Yep. You know what I mean? And there's no trying the little actor thing. You're either going to do or you're not. And if you're going to do, there's a lot of hard work you're going to have to put in just to get moving. Yeah. You cannot avoid the work. Yeah. You know what I mean? So first of all, you got to find out if it's really something that's in your heart. If it's not, you just want to be famous, go be an influencer or try, chase clout some other way, because you're going to waste your time. In this business, it doesn't come down to if you're popular, if you've got a big social media following and all this stuff. Those things can help you. But ultimately in this business, it comes down to who the casting director deems is the most talented person for this role. Yep. And that's why we audition. So I've been in worldwide theaters. I've been on international television. I'm like, guess what? I still have to audition a lot of the times. Yeah. I get lucky here and there and get a direct offer. But for the most part, I still have to audition because they got to make sure that I'm right for the role. Yeah. And so with that, first of all, it needs to be in your heart. So if it's not in your heart, don't waste your time, because when you hit the wall of, toughness, because you're going to have to deal with a lot of rejection, you're going to see there's a lot of work and studying and training. Even to this day, I've been doing this for years now, and I'm very good at my job. But I also am constantly still working on my craft. Yeah. I'll sit with myself. Sometimes I'll sit with monologues and just study. I'll film myself so I can watch it back and go, okay, why did I do that with my eyes? I don't like the face I'm making there. So it helps, tone me and keep me sharp, especially if you're in like downtime. Yeah. But the main thing is, back to the acting coach. Going to the acting coach, one of the things that they're really good at, aside from coaching you on your actual acting, is helping you, get those first moves out of the way. How do I build a resume for film when I haven't done anything? Yep. You know what I mean? That's another big question a lot of people have. When I was coming up, I just lied. Yeah. You know what I mean? So
yeah. So were you part of the other thing? So there was another wanting to be casting director here in Wilmington, North Carolina. Mm-hmm. And what she would do is she would make these one-page scripts. Mm-hmm. And she would get 3 or 4 different actors. Mm-hmm. And she would make these little scenes, and they would rotate between the projects, right? So she'd have 5 scripts. Mm-hmm. And she would put 4 actors in each script, and she'd have like a group of 15 people. And she'd put you in 3 of these little things, and she would make you a reel out of that.
No, I don't know who that was.
Oh, yeah.
But if done right, though, that could help.
Yeah, it could definitely help. But yeah, it was a money grab.
Oh, she was charging people to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, it was a money grab.
Yeah, it was a slick money grab, and they got a product out of it. But it for a reel, you probably could. But the second they start digging into that and realize what that was from, it's just kind of null and void. But it does show what you can do. Yeah, well, because even in that, it may sound like a good idea. It's only a good idea if it's like proper. Yeah, like there's lighting, real lighting, real cameras, somebody who knows what they're doing. If you walk in and you don't see at least a small film crew, then you're like, a cell phone on a tripod is not a film crew.
A cell phone on a tripod is you're getting robbed.
With a ring light.
Exactly, because that shit does not work for your reel. Yeah. In fact, it'll make people not want to hire you because they're like, this is not a professional. You know, because they're looking for professionals.
No microphone.
Exactly. Yeah. So, so just, as far as, you get with the acting coach, you start doing your classes. Don't go in Right out the, don't go in the beginning. Like, hey, put me on, give me an agent right out the gate, because then they're going to know what you're really there for.
Yeah.
And if you're not there for the coaching, because the other help is a byproduct of what you're there for, which is to be coached by them on your acting, and to improve upon that. Because also the other caveat to that is they're not going to plug you into shit if you're terrible, because why they're important is they generally have relationships with agents.
Yeah, they're not gonna make you look bad, or they're not gonna make themselves look bad. Yeah,
and they only, because one way is, and I was fortunate. Thank you to Craig Fincannon. Early on when I went from a very bad agent, I won't say very bad. She was just very amateur and
green.
There's a lot she didn't know.
Yeah,
very green. Yeah, and I got to a certain level where I was auditioning for certain things that it was like, okay, this is transitioning to another level. And so I had a popular casting director reference me into a Southeast, regional agency. It was one of the bigger Southeast agents at the time. So I didn't have to audition for them, because a lot of agents will make you audition. They're like, they'll send you monologues, or they'll have you prepare a monologue and put yourself on tape. I'm assuming now, back in the day, you used to have to actually come in and do it in front of them like an audition.
So over at Arsenal, they still do that as a service, and they'll give you coaching on it. But a lot of people are just self-taping with phones right now.
Yeah.
At least at the beginning levels.
Yeah. So, since COVID, it's kind of been like, that's 90% now. Yeah. If you're going to go play a Marvel superhero, they're going to make you come in. But outside of that, generally the past few roles I've done, I'm on season 3 of Hightown now. Shout out to Hightown. But I'm on season 3. That was on the phone. Yeah. You know what I mean? Just recorded, self-tape, sent it in. They were like, great. He's perfect. And so, a lot of the stuff now since COVID is, they don't want you to come in. Before, you used to have to, wherever you were, you might have to fly to Atlanta. You might have to fly to LA for a callback if you're not there. But now they're like, no, do not bring your ass in this office. Yeah. We do not need any COVID shutdowns. Yeah. And they figured their way around that, and full body shots and things we didn't used to have to do. Now we got to do them. But so your acting coach is going to coach you. And so you need to be there for that first. Have a couple of sessions. Once you can really show when you have a grasp on it and you feel like, okay, I'm in a good place. Yeah. If your acting coach is verbally showing you that, or telling you that how much you improved or how good you are, then, you can say to them like, hey, do you think I'm ready to go get an agent now? Mm-hmm. And they'll tell you, a lot of the reputable ones, they'll be honest with you. Like, I probably got a couple more weeks of working with you before you think on that route. And then some of them, there's people who come in off the street that are they got the talent. They just need to get, sharpened up, polished up a little bit. But they'll tell you like, yeah, actually I do. And I know some people, because that's the thing you're looking for. Yeah. You don't ask, can you get me an agent? Because then they're, you came here to use me. Yeah. And so you don't do that. You just ask, you keep saying, hey, where are we at? Where do you think I'm at my skill level right now? Do you think I'm ready for an agent? And 9 times out of 10, if you are, then you can say, do you have suggestions? And that leads you into, well, actually, yeah, I do have 1 or 2 that I think you would be a good fit for. And then they 9 times out of 10 will make the call for you. And if you're working with an acting coach, then they're filming you on camera, because I'm speaking on an acting coach that teaches you acting for the camera, not theater. That's not,
that's a different beast.
Right. That's a different kind of coach. And so they have, footage of you and different things. And then the agent trusts what the acting coach is telling them. So if the acting coach is saying, no, this is somebody, because the agent is thinking about, will you make me money? That's their biggest thing. Yeah. Are you bookable?
Yeah.
Are you
they want
good
that 15 or 20%.
Damn that. They want that 10%. But yeah, brother, it's 10%. Okay. Yeah, I wish they would come to me talking about more than 10%.
Yeah, some
real,
of these other
real agents,
these
real
other
agencies.
ones around here.
Yeah, if that's another thing, if you do get an agent and they tell you, if they ask for any money up front, run from them.
Yep,
because it's bullshit.
Yep, or pay for their classes.
Yeah, if signing with them means you've got to now go, their photographer's going to do your headshots. That's $900, and you got to take their acting school, and all that. If it's all that, they're milking you. Real agents make their money once you make money.
Yep.
And it's 10%. They're regulated. So across the board, managers are not regulated. That's why managers can't negotiate your actual acting contracts with the production company or studios or whatever. Your agent or your lawyer are the only ones that can actually negotiate a contract for you. Your manager can only advise or, just kind of manage situations, but it's 10%. Now, managers get, depending on who you're with, can be 10, 15, 20%.
Yeah.
I've seen it as high as 25. I would never sign that. But yeah, so managers are a little different. Okay. But your agent who gets you, because your manager's not out there looking for roles and opportunities for you. But your agent is. Yeah. That's their job. And so that's 10%. If they go above that, they're full of shit. They try to get you to pay anything up front or take this or you got to get this class. It's bullshit. But they normally have, good relationships with the coach. So the coach can tell them, when the coach says this person is good and they have a good relationship and they trust 9 times out of 10, they've sent them other people who have started working. And you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be a superstar yet. But if you're good enough to work, that's the key. So you got to go in there, do your due diligence. It could be, you could be a shining star right out the gate. And the coach is like, oh my God, you're phenomenal already. Like, I don't even know why you're here. Like, do you have an agent? And no, I don't. Can you help me? And then, they'll help you out. But because they love to, that's the thing about acting coaches as well. They actually do love to see their students go on and become something. Because guess what?
That makes some more money. If
I was your student and then you see me in World, I'd have my face plastered all over the acting school. So like, see, you could be that for the low price.
$9.95. Visa, MasterCard accepted.
Exactly. That's advertising for their business. So they want you to succeed. They want you to be good enough to get an agency. They make sure they're connected to agencies so they can have their students, their best students, go off somewhere and start auditioning. Because once you take off, these are all pictures and success stories they can put up to attract more potential actors. Yeah. So they can help you through that process. But like I said, you got to put in the work and you got to have the talent. Because if you don't, it's a waste of time to send you to an agent because the agent's going to be looking. I'm like, dude, don't send me anyone else. So, because in this business, your word is everything. Yeah. If I say Jamie Henson is, just for shits and giggles, let's say a great, excellent cameraman. Cool. Cinematographer. Cool. And I say he's one of the best. He's hardworking. Mm-hmm. He'll get the job done. Then you get there and you flub the job.
And I'd be like, who's Jamie Henson? I'm Jamie Hansen.
Yeah. And they're like, they look at me and like, I'll no longer just take your word for it. Yep. But it's very powerful. A lot of people in this business behind the camera, some in front, but mostly behind the scenes. I've seen it mostly where they take your word. Yeah. If you say something is what it is, they don't question it. They will hire this person, pay this person, $350 a day and everything, and expect them to do the job that you said they could do. Yep. And so now if you don't go the acting coach route, you can jump straight to auditioning for agents, So then you got to figure out what experience level do I have? So if you have no experience, okay, well, don't waste your time calling on the LA agents unless, like I said, you have this thing called, and this is a good tip for you people that are leaving high school and you want to go to college and you're like, but it's in your mind, after I'm done with college, I want to go into film. Now, this is something I wish I'd known back when I started because I didn't know it. And, man, it's a whole system that can streamline you right into major jobs, right? Mm-hmm. So the acting world works similarly to or like the college world with actors works similarly to same way college athletes. All the star athletes, they go into the draft, right? Whichever sport that is. They go into a draft. And then you potentially get picked up by a professional team. Now you're balling and making real money, right out the gate, And so, I didn't know that was a thing with film until I got with an LA agent. And then when I was with the LA agent, I remember I was about to sign, and we had been talking back and forth, and the conversations were going great, and the planning and strategies I was loving it. And then they paused my signing, and I was like, "Well, dude, what the hell?" It's like, yeah, well, we got the leagues coming up. So our higher ups said, pause all signings right now, turn all your focus to the leagues. And I was like, my man, what the hell is the leagues? Like, I don't know what you're talking about. And he was like, oh, well, the leagues are basically like, there's several schools with very good film programs. And once you have a graduating class, then, a lot of us agencies will go and bid for the best actors. And then we usually, if we're lucky to grab some of the best ones or the best one, sometimes we only get one. But they literally go fight, and I'm talking from like the big agencies like CAA, William Morris, down to UTA and A3, all the way down to the smaller agencies. They send reps out to these schools like Harvard, Yale. I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, Angela Bassett came out of Harvard.
Okay.
Either Harvard or Yale. She definitely came out of one of the Ivy League, one of those two. And you have several others that came out of schools like Tyree. What's his name? He's one of the stars on Atlanta, the show Atlanta, and he's one of the new Eternals in Marvel.
I hate that show. That was the worst Marvel movie of the
decade.
decade.
I love the change.
I wanted to shoot myself.
But I went with no expectations either, so it was just like, it's going to be what it is.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm talking about, the black actor.
Yeah.
He's a little chubby.
Yeah.
Really good actor. Yeah. So I think he went to a regular, he went to like a normal college undergrad and then went to grad at Harvard. If I'm not mistaken, it was Harvard, and came through their program. And that just open tons of doors for him. So they'll go there to these leagues and find these young actors. They're nobodies at this point, but they're already phenomenal, and they've had some of the best training you could possibly get as an actor for 4 years straight. Yeah. Or 2 years if this, post-grad. And so the agencies know that. You know what I mean? It's just like you see, I had a friend of mine, I go to this charity event that I do every year, and he was there, and he was telling me about a whole house. He's a chef and like a house dad, so to speak. And I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? And he was just telling me how it's like there's a house, and this particular one is in LA, and there's a house where like the sons of like LeBron and Shaq and others, and people who father aren't in it, but they're just phenomenal talent. They're kids, they're like high school, and they'll have them come stay in this house. Well, they have chefs, they have trainers, they have all these different people. I mean, it's money in that house. To just make these boys like, if you're in this house, you're going to the pros. It's not whether or not you're going, it's what team you're going to go to and what level of the draft you're going to go in. But you're going to the pros because you're being trained day in and day out. They take them on a shuttle, take them to school. They bring them back from school, and then they have just all day long, they got their different activities, training, cardio, learning plays, getting better, getting your shot better. You got people working with their jump shot, people working with their, mobility. Like this is every day. These kids are doing this. And so by the time they're ready to go into the draft, the draft are looking at them different. Yeah. Like, no, you really good. And you came up through public school, got brought to college, learned a lot in college. But this guy right here, since a kid, was having some of the top-notch, most expensive people working on everything, making him a professional NBA player. That's all this kid's trajectory has been. Yeah. And so it's kind of the same thing with film, where if you made it into, because you don't just apply and go, you've got to be accepted at Harvard's theater department and Yale, et cetera. And there's other ones, USC, UCLA also, et cetera, where you go through these programs, and if you graduate out of that program, well, Hollywood already knows you're trained, primed, and ready to go on the highest levels. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you could one day be an Oscar contender. You've been trained to that level. Yeah. And so they jump on them because they know these people are going to be a problem.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
So at that level that you're shooting for, right? Mm-hmm. If you didn't go the college route, you didn't do a bunch of other things, would you even waste your time then on small budget indies as you're training?
Yes. That's actually the route I went.
Okay.
So, yeah, man. I mean, I talk about it all the time where, Dead Heist is like the film that won't go away. And I love it. Don't get me wrong. It was a super cheap film. It was funny because, it was just, like I said, it was super cheap horror film. And, I made $300 for like a month of work.
Shit.
But I was in heaven.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was in heaven because it was my first lead role in anything. Yeah. And so, would I do that now? Of course not.
No.
But
my first DP job, a week's worth of shooting for $200. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's rough as a DP. But also, I get it, though. In the beginning, like, you kind of got to, this business is set up that way. It's like, you got to go along to get along. Yeah. You want opportunities where you got to come in. Another thing I didn't realize when I got started that I wish that I had known earlier on and went and did, which was way simpler. If you're near a college that has a film school, these kids have to make shorts. They have to make, videos. They have to make little films, and they need actors. A lot of the times, half the time, they end up with these just friends and stuff who are not that good. They're not real actors or not even really trying to be actors, but they're willing to help them. And so they make these projects. So they actually get really excited when they find people who are a real actor, or at least are really wanting to and will take it serious, even though it's their small student film. But it allows you to get on. They do have, their departments have cinema cameras. They have cinema lighting and all of that, and they're learning how to utilize it. And some of them are really good. Even in like junior year, they're ready to go. Yeah. They just got to get one more year out the way, and they're off to Hollywood or, New York or somewhere else. So you can actually find yourself, you get in good with these people, and you can find yourself in these little small projects that are still cinematic looking and well lit and are good, at least good enough to put on your reel. Yeah. Now, you got that for free. Yeah. You didn't have to pay somebody to sit there with a camera on a tripod and a ring light to film some BS to put on your reel that you look and go, I can't put this on my reel. But with these student films, you can, So, find, that's another thing I tell people. Find a college that has the nearest college to you that has a film school, and then utilize, get in touch with them. Like, hey, if you ever need actors, I'm down. I'm down for whatever, and then you go do these roles. I've seen people do that and do 6 or 7 these little student films, and they weren't even a student, but the students don't care. They just need actors. And so they go and do these roles, and they start loading up their reel with actual quality looking stuff, quality looking scenes. A scene in a reel is only going to be like at the most 20 seconds. So all you need is like, what's my best take? 20 seconds worth of footage out of what we just shot.
All right. So Wilmington question. Who are you going to put? UNCW Film School or Cape Fear? Now, UNCW just got their new facility. But
I don't know about. They got a new facility.
It's pretty nice, right? But from what I've seen up to 2 years ago, me personally, Cape Fear was killing it.
Cape Fear, from what I know,
for my side.
Yeah, what I was gonna say, Cape Fear, from what I know, I've met more people who behind the camera who studied at Cape Fear, and just as good. From my understanding, I didn't go to Cape Fear Film School, but from my understanding, just as good as UNCW for a third of the cost. Yeah. So that, to me, is the smarter route to go. I don't know as far as acting, what kind of program they have set up for that.
Yeah, I never checked in on that side, but
but even UNCW, like, I see a lot of praise for the behind the scenes crew and jobs and stuff like that, editors. I don't hear much about as far as actors. If you're an actor, that's where you want to go. One of the gripes I have with, like, let's say a UNCW, and it's not just UNCW, but many other places as well, is because that's the thing, you have to be careful. Like, you can't just go jump into any film school and think, oh, this will streamline me in. You need to find out. You can Google, you can talk to people, but you need to find out the ones that Hollywood studios and production agencies and whatnot pull from. Yeah. And then work your way into that's one of those schools. But there's thousands of other schools that have small film programs or whatnot. And you deal with a lot of people. I didn't go to UNCW's films. I didn't go to UNCW at all. But I've talked to people who went through those programs. And, one of the biggest things I heard was about how the professors, I was told it feels more like the people who couldn't make it. Like they have knowledge and whatnot, but they just couldn't make it to the big show. And so they go teach.
Oh, yeah.
And so you're being taught by people who
couldn't hack
have not gone to the lengths of where you're trying to go.
Yeah.
So you're limited.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then what kind of access do they have for you into the business if they couldn't even last in the business?
Yeah.
And there's no shade on them. It's a tough damn business to last in. It's hard as hell to even get in, and then it's even harder to last in it, especially if you're in front of the camera. Yeah. Behind the camera is a little different because you just got to know your shit and work hard and make good relationships. Yeah. And you'll stay working. You know what I mean? In front of the camera, it's like, you know, it's twice, I would say it's 5 times harder. Yeah. Because now your look and your talent and all that comes into play versus can you just do the job? So yeah, as far as UNCW or Cape Fear, I think both are good. It's good to learn, period. That's one thing. If you look and you say, okay, well, Harvard's not letting me into their theater department, their film program. But I can go to UNCW and at least learn the basics. Yeah. A lot of actors make that mistake too, where they think, oh, all I need to know is acting. And technically, yes, all you need to know is how to act at a high level. But the kind of actor it makes you, knowing how the whole film set moves, knowing why the cinematographer is, they'll either use a tape measure or they have the little lasers where they can look and see the distance when they're focusing. If you know what they're doing and why, then it helps you when you're in the scene not screw it up. Yeah. I know I can't go past this point because then I come out of focus. Or if I move my hand a certain way in front of the actress next to me who's also being covered, then I mess up her lighting or I cast a shadow on her face. Yeah. Like knowing those technical aspects helps you because there are a lot of technical aspects. People think they just hop on a camera and start acting. Yeah. Or they just, I just got to say some lines. No, it's well beyond that. It's you do have to say those lines. You have to make it believable, and you have to do it in front of like 80 to 120 people just staring at you while you do it.
Yeah, make yourself valuable.
Right, and cameras and lighting, all of that stuff. And on top of remembering your lines and making sure you deliver what they need you to deliver, you also have to remember all the text stuff. Yeah, I have only this amount of space to move in this scene. I've got to watch my lighting, these actors' lighting, and I have marks on the ground. Yeah. So mark, for those of you who don't know, is when you hear people say hit your mark, they will actually put tape or, colorful chalk, and they will make a mark on the ground because that's where they measure, where you land at in the scene. Either you start there or you walk into the scene, but that's your mark. That's where you stop. That's where everything's been measured and focused to. And so if you go past it, now you're going to be blurry or, out of focus. And so, but you can't look down and go, let me make sure I hit this mark. All right, boom. All right, and then start doing your scene. It doesn't work like that. You look at it before action, and in rehearsal, you look at it, and then you practice landing on that mark. Now, I've had to step on my mark many times over my career. One of the hardest things I've ever done was driving, pulling up to a mark. So it's different when you're standing, you can look down at it. And then go, okay, and then just kind of see it in your peripheral and know how many steps. Because we do that too. We count how many steps I have. And then to just stop because you can't look down at it. Yeah. But driving into a mark, that was rough. Because you got to hit that exactly.
Do you have a colored marker for your in your rider? Like I only get purple marks?
No. I never thought of that actually.
You could.
Like, I just, want purple. No, they'd probably be like, this asshole, like... We got to buy a bunch of purple tape now for this guy. Yeah. But they definitely think I was like super pretentious. They were like, this is going to be fun 5 months. So learning all those technical aspects helps you, and directors love that. And it's also important to know those things because if you work with a director and you build a good rapport, well, directors and producers go on to other projects. So, you always have to look at whatever job you're on. It's not just about delivering for that job, but it's also going to be a marketing piece for some of your possible next jobs or a reason not to hire your ass. Yeah. So you have to make sure to be professional and do what you're supposed to do, but also at the same time, when you sit there with directors and whatnot and they, see you and they go, oh, so about this or that, the technical aspects, etc. We've talked about it before where, I was on a film set and a director was trying to force this shot onto the crew, and they kept trying to tell the cinematographers, they're like, dude, like, this is what you want him to do and how you have us framing this. It's impossible. Yeah. It's not going to work. They don't have the power the director has. So the director was just kind of like, shut up, know your place. Yeah. Like, stop telling me what you can and can't do and just get it done. That's what I want. Yeah. So I saw the look on the face of the camera op. And I know that his hands are cuffed. He can't really keep, bucking this guy because he could be like, look, how about this? How about you get the hell off my set?
I'll get somebody who can do it.
We'll get somebody who will do it. So he's going to shut up. Yeah. But he tried to tell him, dude wouldn't listen. So he was just like, the guy I could see he was visibly frustrated, but also, it wasn't going to happen. Yeah. And the camera op was right. And because I know I don't know everything, but because I know a lot of the technical aspect, I was able to step in because I'm the actor. I'm one of the stars of this project. So I have way more power than the camera op because they can't afford for me to walk off. Yeah. The camera op can leave. Yeah.
Especially when you're halfway into filming.
Right. It'll be annoying, but they'll just make a few calls and have somebody there within the next 2 hours. Yeah. Me, if I walk off, it's a whole very bad problem.
Yeah. All that footage is gone.
All the footage, and more than likely, they're not going to let me leave. Yeah. Meaning, not that they could physically stop me, but the simple fact of like, they'll have a conversation. He's an asshole, but whatever we have to do to get him happy and back on this set, do it. Yeah. And they'll do it and, stroke your ego, whatever. And now afterward, like, we're not hiring your ass for shit, right? Yeah. And so, so it's not good to be an asshole actor, even though there's still a lot of people who do. But when they see that those technical aspects, and I was talking to this director, I stopped the whole thing and I was like, my man, I said, how much of this day you want to waste? And he was like, what do you mean? It's because, I know, because I'm also a producer and a writer and now director. But at that time I hadn't directed in anything, but I'm a producer and a writer as well as an actor. So I have to know a lot more technical aspects than just a regular actor. Yeah. And so, I know as a producer, like, I have a producer's thinking while I'm doing my acting jobs as well, meaning staying on time and, meeting the day and not wasting money. Yeah. Every holdup wastes money because everybody on that set is getting paid regardless of whether you're filming something or not, they're getting paid. So you can lose money that way. So I'm like, how much money you want to lose for the network? And he was like, I don't want to lose any money for the network. I said, dude, listen to your camera op. What he's telling you is correct. And it was something to do with the focusing and the lighting, and he was wanting me to go way over somewhere and then come back into frame and all that. And it was like, it's not going to work. It's not possible to keep me in the same lighting, keep me focused the whole time and land back where you want me to land. This is a waste of your time, and all you're going to do is piss off the executives. Yep. And he stopped, went back to the camera ops and the DP and was talking to them. And they were like, what he's saying is correct, and this is why. And he was like, oh, okay, well, I guess we can't do that shot. But when they were telling him, he wasn't listening because he was more powerful. Yeah. Me, I had just as much power as he did in that scenario. So I could talk to him and tell him, dude, no, but because I knew the technical aspects, I was able to call out what the problem was. And he knew, so he understood. And he was like, I guess he was like, if the actor's telling me and the camera op is telling me and the DP's telling me, they might be right. Yeah. So we ended up not doing that, didn't end up wasting any more time, and it worked out. But that's the point of knowing the technical aspects. So if you go in and crew, and that's another thing, oh my God, I wish I'd have known in the beginning. I worked, because I had to hustle. Everything was, I couldn't work a regular job. I tried it. Yeah. But, I was selling cars and, almost got fired that day because I had my very first audition for a movie. And my boss was like, I told him, I said, bro, I just got a call. I got 20 minutes to get down to Screen Gym Studios. I got an opportunity. And my boy's there. He's hooking it up. Yeah. And dude was like, you want to keep your job? And I was like, my man, come on, like just give me 2 hours. Yeah. And he was like, you make a choice. Either you work the job you have or you leave and go try to get that job, but you can't come back to this one. And I was like, well, the problem is that's what I want to do. So to me, it's worth it, and I'm out of here. Yeah. And then he's like,
see you at 4 o'clock.
Yeah, you better sell a car today when you get back. So he did let me go. But, a lot of times there were other opportunities where it's like, hey, I booked this gig and I got to go work 2 days and probably like a day of travel. I need 3 extra days off. And they're like, no, dude, like, you want to be a movie star or you want to do this job? I'm like, well, I want to be a movie star. Yeah. Well, go be a movie star. Yeah. But all like facetious. Yeah. And then I ended up a movie star. But that's neither here or there.
Never be afraid to chase your dreams. Don't let anybody hold you down.
Never. Don't let anyone stop that. That's
and sometimes it's feast or famine, but fuck it.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's a very good point because, and I'll get back to this other thing I was going to say, but that's a very strong point because you have to. I mean, and it's no shade to like my father. My father was a straight-laced military man. My mother was different. My mother was more the artist, and she didn't get to realize some of her dreams because she had to raise us, and life got crazy. So she always raised us, follow your dreams, follow your dreams. And she dealt with people close to her telling her, you can't do that. You can't go to L.A. Someone's going to kidnap you or you're going to get murdered. And so she was scared off from, really stepping out there and then having kids. It was a wrap. And so she made sure to instill into us, ignore people. And she used to even say, she's like, and I love my mother to death, but she even used to say, she used to look at me and say, even if one day I tell you you're crazy or you might need to do something else, ignore me. Yeah. If this is really in your heart and you think you really got a shot, listen to no one. Yeah. When it comes to your dream. Yeah. About going for it or not going for it. Don't let anyone stop you. And, my father even since apologized for me. It was many years ago. I was nobody. Yeah. And matter of fact, I was working on Idlewild and I was like a utility guy. I was like an extra. I was Bill Nunn's stunt double. I was, I had a line that got cut out of the movie, but I was working on it for a minute. And I remember I went to audition for this show. I think it was called The Somebodies. Okay. It ended up coming out like 8 years later. But I auditioned for that show and in Atlanta. And I went to stay with my father. He was stationed in Atlanta at the time. And he let me come stay there. And, he was just trying to tell me, I don't want to say discourage me, but his ideology was like, you need to, you're getting older, which I was like early 20s at the time. He's like, you're grown now. Like you need to really start setting your sights on realistic goals and things that you can really achieve. Because even to him, that was like, it was completely foreign. Yeah. Everyone around me, no one had done this stuff or knew anyone who does this stuff. So it was just like, it's a dream, dude. Like,
a 9-to-5er and a dreamer never think the same.
Never. And so I tried to conform to the 9-to-5 mentality. I just couldn't. I couldn't. I would literally get physically ill walking into work. And it wasn't because I didn't like to work. I was always a hard worker. I was never lazy. But it was just like so far away from my dreams and goals. And it was just something that burned in me, ate at me day in and day out. Even jobs where I was making great money. Yeah. So when I was selling cars, and car sales are different now for salesmen. But back then we used to get, 25% of our deal. And they let you just get as much money on the deal as you can. 25% of it is yours. Yeah. So you're talking about, we were killing it. And I mean, I was making anywhere from $7,000 to $9,000 a month. It was the most money I was making. It was legitimate money, so I was balling. Now, I didn't have no time to live and spend it, but
you was making it.
I was making it. I was making a lot of it too, because I got really good at it. Yeah. And, but even that, I couldn't stomach it. Like I literally just walked in one day and was like, I'm gone. And I became one of the best salesmen. Yeah. And it was just like, I can't do this anymore. And the managers were trying to talk me out of it. And they're like, dude, come on, man. What are you talking about? And I'm like, I just can't. I can't show up here another day. Yeah. I'm going to die if I keep coming to this place. And it's like, damn, okay. Yeah. I was like, yeah. And I knew they didn't understand it. It was like, what the hell is he talking about, And so you've got to be determined beyond, it's not a regular determination. Like you're literally doing something that the majority, 99.9% of the population views as impossible.
Yeah.
You know, I joke about it all the time, but as far as being an actor or writer, because I've written a script that has been produced and came out as a movie, that I never knew that was a possibility before I did it. You know, now I'm directing 3 movies back to back. You know, I didn't know that was going to be a thing. And producing, like I make a joke about it, like everything that I do, what I do for a living is the impossible, because it's not impossible, but so many people view it as impossible that if you don't have a strong mind and a strong will, you'll fall into that, because it does initially seem like
what's the difference between impossible and I'm possible?
An apostrophe.
Yeah.
And hopefully a space after the M, but no, but no, that's very correct. You have to have that ideology. I'm possible. Anything I want to do, I can do it if I'm willing to put the work in and just pray to God for some luck along the way, because you're going to need that too. But yeah, so, you know, it was just a thing of, you know, back to my father, you know, he was telling me, trying to convince me to have realistic goals. And as a father, I get that. So that's why I said it wasn't nefarious or malicious. He wasn't being a hater. He was trying to prevent me from wasting my life and then being one of those 40 or 50-year-old guys who, you know, was just always chasing a pipe dream but never did nothing in life. You know, thank God that wasn't my story. But at the same time, remember I told you, I came up under this woman who was constantly grooming me to be someone who would go after their dreams, and there's nothing anyone could say to stop me. They tried. You're talking about girlfriends. You're talking about people who claim to love you. You know, basically looking at you. They said I was crazy. People said I was crazy until I did it.
That's right.
You know, and then it's funny, they go from you're crazy to, you know, claiming you. Claiming you or wanting to know how you did it. You know, and it is, again, there were haters, you know, along the way, but I feel like, especially the people that love me and are close to me, with them, it's the same thing. Until someone does it around you, it kind of just breaks that ceiling in your mind. So when you go, holy shit, that's possible? You know, you didn't know it was possible. How am I going to encourage you to go do something that I don't even think is a reality? You know what I mean? Just like aliens. There's a lot of people who will not believe aliens are out there until one lands on their doorstep. And then they go, well, what do you know? Shit.
I tell people all the time, if you want to see a real oh shit moment, the guy who runs the camera, who nobody was going to hire for anything else, now owns his own studio. But not only that, he does shows with actors and is on the show himself.
Who are you talking about?
That'd be this motherfucker right here.
Oh. Well, I actually was going to bring you
I made my own door.
Yeah, I actually was going to bring you into that part of the conversation, because although you're not an actor, think about what you do. You know what I mean? If you would have brought this idea, like your studio and what you do with it and your photography, your cinematography, your, you know, all the things you do and have now, if you'd have brought that plan to a bank and said, I need you guys to believe in me, and I tried a loan to get started.
They wouldn't. Yeah, they wouldn't even give me $500.
It sounds nuts.
Yeah.
You're like, oh yeah, of course. You're gonna have this cool facility where you shoot shows and do all. Yeah, all right, bud. You know, it sounds ridiculous. You know, and oftentimes people like us, that's what we deal with. Starting off is everyone just thinks you're ridiculous. Like your head is in the clouds. And now, like, how many years have you been doing this?
I've known the studio for 8.
Yeah, I've known you for years. This is all I've known you to do is work for yourself, doing the things that you want to do related to film. You know, and sound. You know, so you got to have that tenacity. You got to be able to break through that wall. You've got to be able to hear people say things like my mother. Another great saying she used to have that she would tell me that carried me a long way through life is chew the meat, spit out the bones. People saying stuff to you. All right, take what you need. Or, you know, maybe you learn something new. But if you already know it or it's useless, spit that out. Don't internalize that and hold on to it. You keep on, you stay the course. My mom this is the funny thing about my mom. She's been consistent since I was a kid with this. I'll tell her things or whatever, or she'll randomly, she's 60-something now, early 60s. And she still will just randomly hit me up like, hey, son, I just want you to know I love you. I'm praying for you. And, just keep going. Keep going. On to the next, the next goal, the next notch, just still encouraging me, wanting to see me, because she knows where I want to be in this business. And she knows how hard I fought, and where we came from on this journey. So you've got to, especially as a young actor, if this is not really in your heart, you're not going to make it.
Yeah.
You're not going to make it. It's not the Disney World glitz and glam business you think it is. Yeah. All of that shit is a mirage. That is not real. The Oscars and the all the awards shows and all this stuff, that stuff is for ratings, commercial money, and everything else, but it is not real. Like, it's all made up, The only thing that's not made up is the work. The work you put in and the work that becomes your legacy.
Winners win when everyone else quits.
Exactly. Because I always compared it, when I would do more like because I used to do a lot of acting coaching myself, and I would tell them right out the gate, I said, you got to look at this business like an apple tree. And what happens is, as you get into this business, you look up on that tree and you see there's millions of apples all around that piece, or in the apple tree case, we'll say thousands.
Okay.
You see thousands of apples on that tree, and you're like, God, like, how am I going to surpass all these other apples? But then life comes along, and the industry comes along, and it shakes the hell out of that tree, and you see apples fall off. Things happen. It shakes it again. It doesn't stop shaking either. It keeps shaking. This goes on for years, right? And then one day you look up and there's 3 apples left on that tree. Those are your stars.
Yep.
Those are the people that people worship and call them superstars and all that. Those are your stars. There are phenomenal. I've known Denzel level actors who you'll never know of. I've known female actresses that are Halle Berry level. You'll never know anything about them, because one of the things, when that tree gets shook, you got to be able to hang on.
Yep.
You've got to mean it. When you say, I'm going to do this, you've got to mean it more than everyone else on that tree.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because like I said, you look up, there's 2, 3, 4 apples left, and that's who we all see. How important are those apples when there's only 2 or 3 on that tree?
Yep. So I think they need to hang on for a part 2. Is there anything you want to close this with?
So are we at time?
Oh yeah, we're good in.
Oh, okay. Good. Yeah. Well, no, we don't even have to have a part 2. Just remember these tips and these jewels that you guys just got out of this. Get an acting coach. All right. You can start there. If not, the other thing I was going to say, and I'll say it real quick, that I wish I'd have known when I first started out, instead of having to hustle and grind every day to live and survive while I pursued this, was I wish I would have went to a Cape Fear or something like that, learn how to be a grip, a gaffer. So when you find out these guys are making anywhere from $250 to $350 a day, you know what I could have done with that kind of money?
Harrison Ford was the guy who was building the doors on Star Wars.
He was a carpenter, yeah. And that was a brilliant. I remember when I found out his story, I was like, God, why didn't I think of that? Because you're around film all day and you're meeting and mingling with people, but you're also making some real money.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And then these jobs are always ending. So you can work for 4 months. Think of 4 months stacking $350 a day.
Yep.
4 months.
Yeah.
Then, okay, boom, I got 80 grand sitting in the bank.
Yep.
Now I can either go on to the next job or I can take 2 or 3 months off and pursue my film. Yeah, audition and see what I can pick up. You know, I didn't know.
A lot of people have singular mindsets, but if you can open that up and work the other positions, again, make yourself valuable.
Yeah, get involved. Yeah. Find a way to get involved. Go be. I've met many actors who are stand-ins. Yeah. I've seen actors be stand-ins, and for those of you that don't know, stand-in is that when they're measuring and getting the set all lit and shot up, they don't make us actors stand there. It looks like a small independent movie. Then you're gonna be standing there. But they hire these people that are called stand-ins, where they look similarly to your build or whatnot, and they stand in for you while we go back to our trailers and whatnot and relax. They stand there while they measure it out. So when we come to set, everything's already been measured and set up. The focus has been set, lighting set, etc. So you can go be a stand-in. You can do like I did, go be at least I did have that foresight. I went and became an extra, got my little $60 a day and a free meal. and had a lot of really cool experiences and learned how film sets work. I was a student. Everyone's flirting, guys trying to get girls, and people just there like, I'm gonna get this free food. I don't care about nothing. I'm there like this, watching the cameras move, watching who does what. I was studying, learning, watching the actors do what they do, because like I want to be where they're standing. Yep. So let me watch what they do. So find ways. If film is really in your heart and this is what you want to do, and that's in any part of film, but especially if you want to be an actor, you want to get in there, find ways to get in extra, be a grip, gaffer, crew, whatever. Find ways to work, find student films, find an acting coach, and work your way into getting an agent. Or if you feel like you're already good enough or you've already done the acting coach thing, then you need to Google. Google wasn't that popular back then for this kind of stuff. So, but now you can look them up on anything, you know? So find the agencies and just start sending out emails to all the different ones, except the ones that say, we do not accept unsolicited emails, because you'll just piss them off and they'll put you in a bin where they don't want to make sure you do not take anything from this idiot. So, but start off small. If you've never done nothing, don't send CAA nothing. They don't care about you. Go to your regional, agents in Atlanta or, wherever. Start small, work your way up. Your work will get you, bigger positions, bigger teams and, more people with more weight and whatnot. So, go those routes. But the main thing I can tell you, the biggest sources, if I could only tell you two things, is what we talked about, tenacity. Set your mind, say, this is what I'm going to do. And damn it, I don't care how or come hell or high water, I'm not moving from this course. Yeah. I will get there. That, and you have got to, it's like any business, do your own research. There's Google now. You can start there. Go to YouTube. What I'm telling you right now, there's 1 million videos on YouTube telling you these same things. You know what I mean? So study. Yeah, I know if you were like me, you didn't like studying in school, because I damn sure couldn't stand studying and doing homework and all that. Then I became a grown man and got into this business. You know what I do a lot of now? Damn studying.
Ain't that the shit?
Studying and researching, because when I have a role, I've got to read that script, 10, 12, 15 times.
I got GD, man. I understand.
Yeah, and I've got to study it, commit it to my mind, learn it. Yeah. And then make it my own. Like I find myself, hours and hours. I played Suge Knight. Oh my God, that was the worst. Not playing Suge Knight, but every other job I had was fictional characters. So I'm creating basically what this character is going to be. But then I have the opportunity to play a living, not a person who is real and has been here on Earth before, but he's still alive. Mm-hmm. You know how tedious that was? Yeah. It was like, I don't have a choice. I've got to get this right. I don't have any room. I don't have any margins of error with this. Yeah. Because people can literally go see that person. Yeah. And so, man, you're talking about, before we shot, days and days of studying. Yeah. Yeah. Not just studying lines, but studying this person's face and mannerism. So you won't get around that. Yeah. You got to be studious. It's going to happen, but do your research, put in the work. And whatever whatever you're going for, that's anything, but especially in acting, you have to decide, no matter what happens, no matter what comes, no matter if got a kid now, or if I got it, and it sounds cold, but this is the reality, because that's how this business works. They don't care if you, got your girl pregnant. Yeah. They don't care if you're broke and you got to go. No, you figure it out. Yeah. Figure a way. As long as your feet, I compare it to a race. If you're doing this, you might not know where you're going. I started off running. I didn't even know what direction to run, but I was like, I know if I'm just standing still, I'm not doing nothing. Yep. So let me just start running. I'll figure it out as I go. I learned about a film symposium by somehow I got to find out how to get in film. So a film symposium? What's that? I have no damn idea. But let me get tickets and go. But while there, I met some people that then led to other stuff. So just get moving and be unstoppable.
Small steps add up.
Yeah, exactly. That's actually, I'm so glad you said that. And this will be my final note on that. But thank you. That's what I was looking for. A lot of people, they want to do these giant leaps. to different things, and they wonder why it doesn't work, or they wonder why no one wants to help them with it, because it doesn't happen that way. This is definitely a journey, and every journey starts with a step. Focus on that. That is probably I'm so glad you brought that up, probably one of the best pieces of advice in any journey, but especially with this. Don't focus on those giant leaps or, okay, yeah, you want to be an A-list superstar. Worry about that later. Have it in the back of your mind. That's the ultimate goal, but start with a step, small steps. Those small steps, that was something I wish I knew more of when I was starting out, is stop trying to jump way so far ahead. But instead, because you end up having to go back, once you mess those jumps up, you still have to go back after the wasted time and go right back to, all right, step one. Step two. Think of it like bricks.
The basics are in everything.
Yeah, get those bricks, lay the brick one by one. Eventually, you'll turn around and there'll be this beautiful house you built. But stop trying to go buy the furniture to move into this empty lot. You know, start with a brick. And lay them down where you can lay them down at. And that's the most I got, you know.
Cool.
For that. That could go on all day. There's a million different ways. But those are core things that will carry you through and get you going.
So how do they find you on socials?
You can find me on official Dom Santana on Instagram. Dominic Santana, capital D, capital S, all one word on Twitter. And I'm on Facebook, Dominic L. Santana. And, of course, we have the Real Talk Facebook page. It's Real Talk with Dominic Santana. So by all means, patronize that. Please don't forget, with this, while you're watching this or listening to this, remember to like, subscribe, and share. Share. You know that algorithm is hard to beat and get in its good graces. So by you guys, if you find value in this show and the things we talk about, then by all means, it doesn't cost you anything to just hit a like. So hit a like, share this information with other people and whatnot, and it helps spread the word and helps us grow so we can keep doing this beautiful thing we're doing.
Awesome. All right, man. We out.
All right. We'll see you guys next time. Thank you for rocking with us. And don't forget, like, scribe, and share.
Subscribe.
It's a tongue twister. Like, subscribe, and share. And be on the lookout for us, our next episode. So we'll see you next time.
Boom.
Zombieland, your presence required in Zombieland. So welcome to Zombieland. These zombies is always a part of their grave. Walking around, fronting and stunting, redundant, but looking real lame. Nobody believing you, people deceiving you, leading you on with this nonsense. Hate me to dime off your dreaming, you already dead and it's only your conscience.